I mean, I do think there's something particularly notable about the fact that you were the editor of a magazine called Homemaker, Sally, which in today's context feels not quaint, but actually almost undermining of what a lot of women, including you, have been trying to do. It was at that magazine that you actually really stretched your wings as a war correspondent. How does that come to be?
Well, Amanda, at that time, the all news networks had come into our living rooms, and we were getting these 90-second truncated reports about conflict. There were never any women involved in the story. And I thought, where are they? They're half the population. How come? So I talked my publisher into letting me go to find out where the women were. And that conflict was Sarajevo. And something happened. It might be too long to go into here, but something happened, and I knew it was they were gang raping women in camps,
Right.
and I knew it was a heck of a story. But I was in the magazine business; I could raise this international headline to press in about 3 months. That was our lead time. So I gathered everything I could: names, mobile numbers, even the psychiatrist, all kinds of data. And I brought it back and I gave it to a large news agency in Toronto. I said, give this to one of your reporters. This is a heck of a story. And 7 weeks later, I saw a 4-line blurb in what was then Newsweek magazine saying they're gang raping women in the Balkans. So I called him. I said, what happened? What'd you do with that data? He said, I was going to use it. It was great. But I was busy. I was on deadline. I forgot. I said, 20,000 women were gang raped, some of them 8 years old, some of them 80 years old, and you forgot? And he said, oh, Sally, you're always going on and on about the women. And that was my moment. I thought, if no one else is going to do these stories, I'm going to do them.
It's hard not to see a combination of factors at play there. And maybe he was busy. I'm not casting aspersions on one human. There's a squeamishness about sex, sexuality, bodies that, we maybe were getting better about it, but for sure, when you started doing this, was alive and well, right? We didn't talk about these things publicly. It wasn't polite. It was shocking. And then there is this kind of sense that women are somehow less important, that it's not the real story. You were fighting those two forces. You've been fighting those two forces. And I guess I want to bring you right up to today, Sally, and ask, because I feel in some ways some of the stories you've covered have gone full circle, tragically. Are those still as powerful as they were, those two forces?
They are, and they are, I wouldn't call it full circle, but when you have people like Trump in power, you start to worry about losses. But Amanda, they're not sustainable losses. It's true. Now, in Sarajevo, everybody was there. CNN was there, BBC, New York Times, CBC, everybody was there. And it wasn't that it was squeamish, it was women didn't matter. And that was the attitude. I mean, Look at that fabulous book called Sapiens, which subtitle is The History of Humankind. And Harari does not mention women in the book. And it's an international bestseller. It's about humankind, and it's right now. So it's always there. I say to audiences when I'm speaking to women, don't take your win for granted. There's always someone in the wings looking for a way to undo what you just accomplished. So yes, it's still there, but Amanda, the seed has been planted, it has germinated, it has flourished, and there is no way women are going back.